Where's my hat? Hello.
Hi.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Comic Shop Talk Live, brought to you by Black Cat Comics in Rockin' Milpitas, your one-stop shop for all things superhero. Shop online at black-cat-comics.com. We're here keeping you connected to the comic book community. I'm Mark.
I'm Francie.
And boy, do we have lots of fun and exciting stuff to talk about this week. It's a lot of great comics rolled out this week. Got some comic shop news. We got some special announcements. Ooh. This is an interactive program, so give us your questions, comments, concerns, and queries, and we'll do our best to satiate your curiosity. Like I say, we're here for you to talk about this week's comics, talk about what's going on in comic shops, talk about what's important to the comic fans.
Share the love of comics that we all have.
That's right. And to get a little escapism from that world that's outside that window.
Talk. Let's just ignore it.
First, we always like to start with comic shop news. Comic shop news. The big news this week, read on Newsarama today, is all the changes going on at DC Universe. I guess it's now DC Universe Infinite or DC Infinite. The whole online thing, all of the video content, all of the non-comic book content is going to HBO Max.
That's not a surprise.
And no, it's not. And now the DCU Online is going to be comics only. They're going to put up their whole library, and the new comics will get released digitally faster, digital exclusive content.
Wait.
Blah, bitty, blah. Yes, ma'am.
Questions. So what happens if you've paid for a year of service that included all those shows, and now they're not offering that? Do we get refunds?
I don't know. I don't work there. So
I need to know.
No, you don't. My assumption is, given from all the
CJ?
comments that I saw on Newsarama, you are not getting a refund.
That's bogus,
I think
dude.
there's a new pricing structure for new people. I think your existing thing might carry over to HBO Max. I don't know what. But I do know that it is going to be comics exclusive. Going forward, I think as of January 21st.
Wowzerinos.
So that is kind of big news. It's big comic shop news. Like everything.
Agreed, CJ. Agreed.
What's that?
No big surprise. Once they started moving everything to HBO Max, the writing was on the wall, and then they laid everybody off from DC Universe. So yeah.
Everything, comic book guys always react. We always panic. There's always panic in the industry. DC's we're all gonna die.
Panic?
I'm not panicking, but I'm also finding a good seat where the band plays on the Titanic.
What's up, Lance?
I will say,
the band plays on the Titanic.
I'm glad they kept it. I thought when everything, say, we all knew it was all going to HBO. I just thought that would be the end of the DCU Online thing.
But they have to keep it because, honestly, that might be the only way they're publishing comics in the near future.
That was where it...
What do you guys think?
That's where I think it's going.
Well, in DC, not going anywhere. I hope so, CJ. I really hope so. You know me, I'm a big Batman gal, so I'm all over it. If this is the death knell, then I will be the first in line to cry hysterically.
Well, like you say, I think on the outset, I'm glad they kept it. They will market it, so clearly they have an interest in continuing to create new content.
Yes.
So therein lies an element not to panic. Where the panic or potential for panic lies is that obviously this opens the door to stop producing floppies.
Right.
And a subset to this, and this has been my concern with DC for a long time, and this whole thing doesn't change that. My concern is they're publishing only to print covers. Right now we're selling Batman comics and B covers. And my concern is that DC feels like the print market is only here to buy B covers, that we're not reading comics anymore, that the readers are digital and the paper fans are the ones who want fancy covers. And
we know that's not true.
Well,
We know that's not true.
I know that's not true, but I don't know that they know that's not true.
That does not compute in
and
my head.
That has been my concern
I
for
don't-
quite some time.
No, that does not work.
I get a lot of calls for art germ covers. I get a lot of calls for B covers, but I don't.
Yeah, but the core at the end of the day, and we know at the core at the end of the day, the fans that they have are readers like CJ, like Lance, like Marcus, like myself. I don't buy a book for its cover, though the covers are cool. I buy it for the content, the story. I do that. We know that. And hopefully DC understands that as well.
Well, I hope the numbers reflect that. That's the important part. Is I hope the numbers reflect that.
I don't understand that question.
I don't either. So that's the thing. DC is doing their DC
Making
online digital comics only. And like I say, I think it's really cool. I've always said that digital comics are the new spin rack.
The gateway drug to print.
People come into comics now through the digital thing, and then the 10% that become the hardcore fans is
content is king.
Then you create the hardcore fans, and they get filtered into the shops, and they get filtered into the other things.
Hopefully.
I totally believe that that's how it happens, and I believe that that's has for the last 2 years been the future of comics.
Best content.
But like I say, but the numbers need to balance that.
Yeah.
Right now, digital comic sales are not huge, but they're gaining. I think digital comic sales are climbing, and I think paper sales are dropping. And at some point, my concern is that they'll just pull the plug on printing.
But we've had that concern since 2012.
Right, but they didn't have their own platform, digital library
distribution arm.
I mean, and like I say, I'm not one of these panicking people. I like the thing. We're subscribers. I go there, and I love to read the Golden Age comics that are on there. I love to read the old Doom Patrol stuff that's on there.
I think as long as Jim Lee is still at the helm, we will get floppies. But the minute that Jim Lee goes, that might be the end.
Well, that's what we wanted to throw out to the audience.
Yeah. Lance, they're small.
And I've said that since New 52. They don't see the sales digitally, which is why we still get print.
Right.
But I'm just curious if that changes. I'm curious as they continue to market their digital platform, will that change? I hope not. Like I say, I love my floppies, and as you say, I know the fans do too. And I know, like I put in the newsletter this week, the same things that made comics great in the 30s still make comics great almost 100 years later. People still like the escapism, the everything about it, the collecting and the art and the
it's two things, very simply: good story, good art.
That's it. So anywho, I didn't want to get too into it because like I say, I don't have a panic mentality to it. I just thought it was big news.
Panic?
I thought it was news that they're keeping it and that it's comics only. Again, I think that's fun. I think it gives I like a place where I don't have to sift through all of the other stuff. I like having a place where I can go and just read a bunch of comics.
Yeah, but have you tried? I've tried. I can't figure it out. Like, it's very challenging to read. Well, on even the biggest screen possible.
That's a whole other topic. Is the consumption of digital comics. I like to say, I like looking at the art. I don't read them that way, but I like looking at Golden Age books, and I like looking at the books I'll never buy.
Can I just say, I love that CJ and Lance are saying hello to each other. Like, that's the whole point of doing this, is creating an online community, since you can't do that, face to face. So thank you guys for being here. That's awesome.
Yes.
Awesome sauce.
Like I say, we do it for you. So yes, here's to the future of DC Comics and digital and print and consuming comics in any way possible. Now, while we're on that subject, let's get right to that guy right there. While we're talking about DC and the past, present, and future, and we're talking about, hey,
look at that meaty.
You can read this baby digitally. You can read it in print. You can read it however you want.
That's an hour of good fun right there.
This book right here validates all kinds of things. I'm always talking about, like legacy numbers, what makes comics great, all those things. You're more the Batman person. Do you want to
look at
take
the
it
back,
from here?
the wraparound cover for Andy Kubert. So good. This is the Jim Lee cover.
Because it ain't an anniversary without a dead Martha.
I think we sold out of everything, right?
Yeah, we'll have them all back in eventually. Well, the new DC thing doesn't direct ship anymore, so it takes me a little longer. But
I only got a copy because it was damaged, so I'm taking home the damaged one. So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm really excited about all the different people contributing to this. Just to name a few, we've got some Grant Morrison, we've got some Marv Wolfman, Tom King.
Wolfman, all-time great.
I mean, Tom King. I mean, enough said, right?
Some must say the Marv Wolfman.
Dan Jurgens, famous Superman writer.
Love Dan Jurgens.
Kelly Sue.
Big fan of Kelly Sue.
Greg Rucka. I love me some Greg Rucka. He needs to do more stuff. I just need more Greg Rucka in my life. I really do. Ooh, Matt Fraction. Love Matt Fraction.
By Michael Bendis.
Who didn't like his Jimmy Olsen stuff? Wasn't that great?
I absolutely love
that was
Jimmy
fun.
Olsen.
That was a good
Absolutely
time.
love Jimmy
That was a good
Olsen.
time. Peter Tomasi, Brian Michael Bendis. So yeah, it's got all the hits.
All-star team up.
All the hits.
All-star lineup.
So make sure you grab one. If you missed it, we will hopefully get more online. Not this week, but the week after.
Not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. And there's a ton of great covers by a ton of great artists. So I know at $10 a pop, you want to choose the one. But if you got a bunch of cans to recycle, it's worth getting 2 or 3 of them. The Art Germ one is always amazing. I was a big fan of the A cover because I love the genealogy that is Kubert. I'm a little jealous.
A lot of covers. It's like 12 covers, right? Of
the Kubert gene. But yeah, lots and lots and lots of great covers. I'm going to talk a lot about covers today. Okay, while she takes the call, I'll tangent about 1027 for just a minute. Grant Morrison, you're right, Michael. He's always great. So Detective 1027, the 1000th appearance of Batman. Obviously, his first appearance is Detective 27. This is 1027. That's why it's the big anniversary issue. Giant anthology, lots of stories, lots of artists. That's sort of awesome. If you look closely, much like when Detective 1000 came out, I put up a lot of great classic issues of Detective behind me. Some are online, some aren't, so you can find those in the classic section of the website, or you can book one of those virtual appointments and ask to see the other ones I've got back here. They're just back there because it's Detective Comics Week, and those are a bunch of awesome issues of Detective Comics. But I mentioned a tangent. I wanted to mention this one particularly. This is Detective 627. This is obviously celebrates Batman's 600th appearance. I've mentioned this on the show before, and I mentioned this on Black Hat Classics. But since 1027 is out, I want to mention 627 because it's got different versions of the original Detective Comics 27. It reprints the original first appearance of Batman, which of course is super awesome. And then you see the same story done by different creators from different eras. So it's just a fantastic anniversary issue. This one's like $15. Like all anniversary issues, it's double sized. But like I say, you can read the original Detective 27 in here, and then you can read the same story done by different creative teams in the style of different eras. And so, like I said, since this week was 1027, I wanted to mention 627. We also have 427, number 427, which is not an anniversary issue. At the time, it's just an average issue of Detective, but it's still super awesome. And while I was on the subject of anniversary issues, this is the 50th anniversary issue, and this is the one where he teams up with Sherlock Holmes.
Ooh.
So you get both of the world's greatest detectives. So anyway, as I said at the top of the show, it's a great example to talk about things like I like to talk about.
It's very good art.
Stories, good art, and legacy numbers, and the history that is ingrained in the classic titles like Action and Detective and Wonder Woman and Amazing and Avengers and a lot of the other books that we're going to talk about.
And Lance, I just finished reading this before we went live. So yeah, so Batman 99, super duper good. We're almost done with Joker War. We've got another, I don't know if there's any crossovers, but we've got at least one more issue with Batman 100, tying it all together. I can't say where because I don't want to spoil it, but it's all coming to a head very, very quickly.
And again, without spoiling anything, I love
this kid, by the way.
I love
He's
Nightwing.
badass. Who is this kid? Who is he?
I love when the original dynamic duo team up. I've been liking Joker War, but I especially anytime anything's going on.
That moment was very like.
It does.
It's
my favorite issue of Hush.
No spoilers.
I'm just showing. It's just showing you the cover. I like to say, like the issue of Hush with Nightwing. Anytime anything's going on with Batman, I personally am sort of wondering when Nightwing is going to show up and save his bat bacon. And so I was really stoked to see that cover.
I'm still no spoilers here. We still don't know who this kid is after reading issue 99, and I can't wait to find out who he is. Hopefully in issue 100 we'll figure it out.
I imagine so. But like I say, it's always a great time to be a Bat fan. As I said in the video on Wednesday, I don't know, it's very rare that you get Batman and Detective in the same week. It's very rare that Batman and Detective separately have so much going on. Batman doing the Joker War thing, Detective with the big anniversary issue. It's an exceptionally great week to read some Batman.
Honestly, and that's why it pains me to hear about, DC's stuff, because I want them to keep producing these things. As I'm sure you guys agree, they're great, and I want to keep reading them, and I want to keep reading them in this format. So I hope and pray that they keep publishing them, because I want to keep reading them.
We've always known that digital's the future and all those kind of things. And I always get accused of being an old person and liking things because I'm old and old-fashioned. The fact is, I just like keeping my comics. Part of having comics is collecting them. And yes, part of that is that sort of hoarder mentality, that OCD mentality. But for me, it's also just going back for the reread. I love, like Hush. Yes, you can have the trade paperback, but I love pulling those issues out of a box and reading the issues. We'll do it again with Joker War at some point. Floppies are fun.
It's a big week for Marvel too this week.
I feel like I'm already talking too much.
Beautiful Alex Ross covers behind you.
All right, let me just get to it then. I told you I was going to talk a lot about covers today. So
covers.
Let me start with my all-time favorite guy, Captain America.
You?
Love me some Captain America. I love any opportunity to talk about Captain America. It's a great, great time to be a fan of this book. Because Alex Ross does all the A covers, and now we're in gear with the Alex Ross Timeless covers, like I mentioned with last week's Submariner.
Cool forehand. Thank you.
So, super fast, because we got 3 of them anyway. Here's your A cover for Captain America, like I mentioned. Great time to be a Cap fan. Pick up the previous issue and then grab this one if you've been missing out.
I love me some Alex Ross, but tell me if I'm wrong. Doesn't he look like Dolph Lundgren? Look at that guy. That's Dolph, right?
I think he's supposed to look like Chris Evans, but I think you're right there.
I think he looks more like Dolph.
And then Alex Ross does the A cover for Iron Man, the cool wraparound A cover.
Nice.
Yes, Lance, Empire is great, and X books are on fire. It's such a great time to be a Marvel fan. I can't say it enough. But I will say it a lot because of what I'm going through right now. So Captain America, great time to be a Cap fan. That book is excellent right now. Iron Man, I loved this issue. It goes against all the things I said about Detective 27 because this is a new #1 and I'm so tired of new #1s. I can't stand it.
There's so many.
But there is a kind of a reason. The last incarnation of Iron Man was Ironheart. This is a bold new direction for the title and all that. It's not Pepper Potts. It's one of the other redheads. It's a great jump-in point. But if you're an old school fan like me, it's kind of a flashback to classic Iron Man. But I don't want to get too into it. That was your Captain America. This is Iron Man #1. Great time to jump into Iron Man. Also with the Alex Ross cover. Wrap around. And then here's Immortal Hulk, like Captain America always has an Alex Ross A cover. Also one of the best books in comics. I cannot say enough about Immortal Hulk. It is dark and creepy. It's everything a Hulk book should be, which is a beautiful blend of horror and science fiction. You should read every issue of Incredible Hulk.
The cat cover was Pepper Potts.
Because she's the Iron something. but that's the new suit. Immortal Hulk. Every issue of Hulk, every great issue of Hulk makes you say two things. God, I hope that never happens, and or God, I hope that never happens to me. And Immortal Hulk is just so like that. And I love this book. So that gave you 3 awesome Alex Ross covers. And then it gives you 3 more awesome Alex Ross covers. Here's the aforementioned Captain America book that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Here's the aforementioned Iron Man #1. I mean, come on.
Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that.
You can reach out and just grab them.
That looks real.
That's good.
And again, great book, and either of those covers, both of those covers, and it's a great time to jump into Iron Man. And this is your Immortal Hulk cover.
I mean, I need a T-shirt of this guy right here. Look at that.
Which reflects what I've said about the book all along: is if Lee and Kirby were to redo Incredible Hulk today, this is how the book would be. This is an awesome version of the original Kirby Hulk. And then, like I say, Immortal Hulk is kind of like that. The first incarnation of the book was really dark, was twisted science fiction, and that's what the new series is. So if you haven't listened to me for 37 issues, pick up this one and you'll see what I'm talking about. And want to mention real quick, along the point of Marvel being so awesome, old school villains with new angles. It's a lot of what Marvel's doing right now is very much a back to basics with modern twist. It's the core of the book that you're familiar with, but in a fresh, modern way, not like in a way that you've read 1,000 times. The last one that I wanted to mention was your Alex Ross cover of Giant Size X-Men.
Gorgeous.
She is my second favorite X-Man behind Cyclops, and that's just an amazing cover.
Have you seen the photo of the entire mural? No. If you want to post it on the comments, Lance, we can all check it out.
So pick up last week's Submariner one from the Empire Fantastic Four. Pick up all these. Even if you're somebody like my man CJ and you're religiously adverse to purchasing a Marvel comic, I mean, come on, man. That's just gorgeous.
Pretty.
So, like I say, it's a great time to be a Marvel fan. It's a great time to try new Marvel books. Marvel is really solid with their content right now. Lance mentioned Empire and all the X books. I'm not getting into the X books because I've been rambling enough, and we're already halfway through the show. But next week, as we get into Swords, X of Swords, and then we'll be talking about all the X-Men stuff like crazy.
I love you, CJ.
So, like I say, I could go on and on. There's X-Men 12. The 2 Star Wars books.
What am I gonna? Do I get to say anything?
Yeah, now it's your turn. I'm done with I needed to pitch all about the covers. I was all about Alex Ross this week. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so 2 books that if they're not on your radar, I want to put on your radar: 7 Secrets by Boom Studios and Devil's Hideaway by AWA. So
AWA.
So 7 Secrets, great art, great story. Spy stuff, think Da Vinci Code meets Mission Impossible, that kind of stuff. And 007, all wrapped up in one. It's really great, and it's by Tom Taylor, the guy who's doing Deceased. So it's a
Deceased.
Total breakout from, it's not a horror comic, it's more of a spy mystery type thing. So it's really good. It's a gut punch. It's exciting, and if you like action adventure type stuff, add this to your list. It's really good. And then Devil's Highway, because I love the horror. This is really, really creepy. So I don't scare easily, and I read this book and had chills, and I'm sure I will have nightmares later tonight because I just read it today. It is the writer did a lot of research on true serial killer cases. And there is this whole network of underground murders by various truckers across the country. Like, that is true. They cover for each other. They pass each other, their victims. It's awful.
Don't stop at truck stops.
Oh my God, it's terrifying. So if you want a good scare, I mean, this is a fictional story, obviously, but he did a lot of research, and it scares me to think if any part of this might actually be true. So if you want to learn more about the underbelly, seedy scenes of truck stops and truckers, no offense to the good truckers, but to you serial killer truckers, we're onto you. We get you. Onto you. Pick it up. It's good. It's creepy. Thanks, Lance. And then, do you want to do another one, or should I keep going?
Keep going.
Okay.
We can both talk about that one.
Okay, yeah. So this is just fun, easy. Hellboy, lots of punches, some Nazis, getting what's coming to them, their comeuppance, with Fearless Dawn, who I actually don't really read, don't really know much about, but it was just fun. Easy, fun. Exactly
you knew that
what
when
you
it
want.
said Hellboy.
Exactly what you want in a Hellboy comic. Not a lot of, requires a lot of thought, and that's not a diss.
No.
We needed some escape.
It's just entertainment.
This is a great escape book.
And punching.
Punching and Nazis and Hellboy.
I love all things Hellboy. Been a while since we got a new Hellboy book, so I was really excited to see this. We were talking just last week, actually, about what the future of Hellboy might be.
Yeah.
And I think, much like I always say about Planet of the Apes, I think Hellboy is such a wonderfully simple crossover kind of thing. You can team up Hellboy with anybody at any point. One thing I've always said about fictional characters, you can tell the greatness of a character by your ability to take them out of their world and put them in any other world. You should be able to take your character and put them in Disney World, put them in anywhere.
I would love that.
Wouldn't you love Hellboy in Disney World?
On the Matterhorn.
And like all the ride animatronics come to life and whatever. I would love to see Hellboy fighting live animatronics, and It's a Small World. That would be.
He'd get spooked and use the right hand of doom, and
that would just be a treat.
Someone needs to write that.
Like I say, you should be able to take your character. My example is always Kirk and Spock, and they do that in the original show, and they do it in the comics. And you can do it anywhere. You can put Kirk and Spock anywhere that you can think of, and it works. And anyway, to some extent, Hellboy works in that same way, and always fun to see one shots kind of come out of nowhere, and just a lot of fun.
Hellboy meets the abominable snowman of Matterhorn.
Awesome.
That needs to happen.
Oh, that totally needs to happen. That's totally a paranormal monster
that
Hellboy would fight.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's already getting written right now.
Yeah.
In my noodle.
They already stole it from us. it's already a direct to Disney Plus feature.
That's all I've read so far this week. This other stuff I've got, but I haven't read it yet.
I want to get to this one real quick. It wasn't in my stack, but since I put it back there.
Lance said it was really good.
This is your second Joker War book. Okay. Much like Nightwing, I love Catwoman. Yeah. No spoilers. I love Catwoman like I love Nightwing. I love when she has her own series. This series has been really good because it's another thing I always say about characters and about comics. They shouldn't necessarily be interchangeable. A Catwoman story should be a story you can only do with Catwoman.
Come on.
And if you put Supergirl in this comic, it's not the same story. And yes, issue. It is a key issue. And it's another anniversary, another big chunky 25th issue. But I've loved this whole series because it shows you how she walks the line between good and evil better than any other book I've ever seen. They made Venom a good guy, and that was boring because he's Venom. He's not supposed to be a good guy. Whenever they kind of play the back and forth, it just doesn't come off as real.
Yeah.
But in this book, it's real, and I don't know. I've really really enjoyed it, and this is a great issue to jump in. And there's a little story in the backup. There's a little story at the end that you will just absolutely love. Just absolutely love.
So we sold out of that because actually they shorted us or something. Same with Detective. There are some damages and stuff. So we'll get more.
We've got these back.
We've got more Catwomans now.
Catwoman now.
Online. And then we'll have more Detectives in 2 weeks.
And I kind of
that's what it was. Batman, they shorted us.
Yeah, we shorted that. Of all weeks, we got shorted Batman and the Detectives. But they'll be back. So yes, there's like everything. A lot of Marvel and DC. I wanted to talk about Justice League because that's the first death metal of the Justice League stuff, and everybody loves death metal. I want to talk about this a little bit because I love me some Warren Ellis.
I'm saving them up. I haven't read any of those. I read like the first 2 of these guys, but then I'm just saving them up. Warren Ellis is very meaty. I will forget the details between issues, so I'm gonna wait until all of them are done, and then I'm just gonna like turn off my phone and read it for like a day. It's gonna be great.
He's very solid. Every time that comes out, I want to reread Planetary. But as you have that one there,
Super good.
as I say, I could go on and on as I always do because I think it's a great time for Marvel. There's always big DC stuff like we've been talking about. We could have totally filled the show. But all the other ones that I like this week came out too, like Firefly, been digging Firefly from Boom Studios, Deja Thoris from Dynamite. This is really interesting, actually, but I can't say why without spoiling everything. Bloodshot from Valiant. This one and next week's Rye. You got to be reading Rye from Valiant. It's one of the best sci-fi comics I've seen in a long time. The other two are for you guys. Everybody loves the new Umbrella Academy. If you're watching the show and you haven't read the books,
Do number 1.
You can either pick up the trade, of course, the first trade, or you can grab a brand new number 1 for a new series. And then my man Chip Zdarsky and his Image book.
Look at him branching out from Marvel.
Well, Michael mentioned Daredevil, and Chip Zdarsky is really solid. He's one of those guys that's making Marvel really good right now.
This is You Look Like Death.
Oh, reading in reverse.
Once in Future. Bloodshot, and then that one.
Stillwater. Like I say, I love Chip Zdarsky. One thing I'm always recommending to the Marvel and DC people, like you were talking about the guy who writes Deceased.
Tom Taylor.
Follow that creator to their
favorites.
Image book. Follow that creator to their indie publisher book. Tinian does Wind that everybody's into, and that comes out this week. Love me some Chip Zdarsky. So when I saw his name on a number 1, I'll read that. It's not a superhero book. There's no punching, but I'll read it anyway. And because that's how comics are supposed to work. So like I say, it was a great Marvel DC week, but a great week for all the other guys too. I like to make a point of the indies.
Should we talk about our announcement now?
I suppose so. I believe we've
Do you guys
kind of
have
covered
any
this week's
other
comics.
questions about stuff this week?
While
Comic
we
Shop News
roll
stuff
to the
this week?
next topic, you all can throw your comments. We want to know what you're reading this week,
Yeah,
what you're excited to be
What are you
reading,
excited about?
what you're looking forward to be reading.
What do you think everybody should have on their list?
What's that book, that you like that you maybe people aren't reading? Or just what do you think about Detective 1027? What do you think about Joker War? What do you think about Alex Ross? All these things. And we'll get on to the next thing. I think this is all you.
No, it's not all me.
I've talked for half an hour. Now it's all
you. I'll talk too. One thing else. Okay. So we've talked off and on for a little while about our comic that we're working on. So we're happy to announce that the Kickstarter campaign for Black Cat Chronicles will go live on October 1st, which is only about 2 weeks away. So we are super duper excited. We've got the first few pages back from the artist. We are launching the video for the Kickstarter at 3:15
in about half an hour
on YouTube. So check it out. Hopefully you like it. Share it. Send it to all your friends. We're hoping that this is one of many that we'll be able to do, but we're going to start with one just to see how it goes. The comic is Black Cat Chronicles, the Greyfriars Cemetery. It is truth is scarier than fiction. So that particular storyline, we've actually been there. So we've been to Scotland. We went on a tour and got a lot of the history of the Royal Mile in Scotland. One of the creepiest stories that we heard, there's many. Scotland's a very haunted city.
Yes, it is.
There's some,
Edinburgh.
There's some messed up things that happen in Scotland. So one of the many horrible stories along the way was the story of the Greyfriars Cemetery at the end of the Royal Mile in Scotland. And up until very recently, when the cemetery was open to the public, people were getting scratched and bit and pushed down, and pregnant women were fainting, and all kinds of things were happening in the cemetery. So much so that they ended up closing it to the public. So now it's a hazard for people to just walk through the cemetery because it's so haunted by these crazy poltergeists. And so lo and behold, they try to figure out what exactly it is that's causing all this havoc. And they realize that there's a horrible sadistic person buried there named George Bloody Mackenzie, who was known to torture and kill the Covenanters, which is a religious sect in Scotland in the 16th century. And they are buried next to each other. So on one side of the cemetery is George Mackenzie's tomb, and on the other side of the cemetery are the people that he killed and tortured. So that's fun. So long story short, there's a lot of really weird stuff that has happened since the beginning of the Bloody Revolution and all the way up until the present time. So there's 200 to 300 years of weird stuff that have happened. Exorcisms, deaths, mysterious hauntings and scratches and bites and all kinds of crazy. So we're trying to bring that story to life through our first issue of Black Cat Chronicles called The Greyfriars Cemetery.
Which is sort of the point and the theme of the series itself, where, as we say, truth is scarier than fiction. So we're going to produce high-quality comics about true horror stories. And we're very, very excited about that. Really excited to see the project coming to fruition. Very excited to bring the project to you guys. Very excited to get everybody's support behind the Kickstarter program. Just can't say enough about all the different things we're excited about. We've been into comics a long time. We've been selling comics a long time. And it's really fun to now get into another aspect of that. Instill our creative juices into comics and become another part of the industry.
And we officially launched the Black Cat Publishing arm of our company today. So black-cat-publishing.com is now up and running. And we're going to be adding more things to that over the course of the weeks as the Kickstarter campaign gets closer and closer. And just like what we said earlier, our main goal as publishers is to make, good story, good art. That's it. Create the stuff that we want to read. So that's our motivation for creating the publishing arm, as well as diving into this first series of, hopefully, like I said, many comics to come.
Yep. It's going to be
Signed
a big
copy.
deal.
You got it, Lance. You got it.
As I said at the beginning, what made comics great in the beginning still makes comics great, and we're looking forward to putting our stamp on that kind of thing. I think, not despite, but because of all the changes in the industry, about the move toward digital and all these kind of things, I think that the market for indie comics, the market for new comics and new material is definitely there and is really strong, and we're looking forward to becoming part of that.
Thank you guys for your support and your excitement. Farhan, thank you very much. Lance, we will announce the artist when the Kickstarter goes live. It's not an artist you've probably heard of, so we're happy to introduce new talent to you guys and maybe hopefully check out his previous work. He's extremely talented. We're extremely lucky to have him. He's taken my vision and put it on page, and it's perfect and amazing and detailed, and you guys are going to fall in love with him.
You're going to love the pages. You're going to love the preview. Tell them about the preview. Tell them how all that works.
The preview meaning
what's
stuff?
Going live and
Okay.
And what's happening today.
So today we are just launching the website for publishing, and we're launching the video that gives you the first glimpses of what the art looks like. On October 1st, we're going live with the Kickstarter, and we have a midnight campaign. So for the first 24 hours of the Kickstarter, you'll be able to get a digital copy, a print copy, a mention in the thank you page, a sticker, and a bookmark for only $10. So that's if you sign up and become a donation person. within the first 24 hours of it going live. And then after that 24 hours, it goes up just a couple more bucks for folks that miss out on that first 24-hour cycle.
So there you go. Like I say, we're really jazzed to see all this happening. We're super excited to get the art back and look gorgeous.
Oh, I was in tears.
And we're excited to finally let you all in on the whole project and get everybody behind it and start producing real copies of that book.
You know, one of the things that we talked about when we were thinking about doing this years ago was that this is a community effort. Like, we can't run our store successfully without you guys. We can't be here to talk about comics without you guys. Like, this is a joint communal effort. And so the Kickstarter, sure, we could have tried to find, the money behind the scenes and try to steal over here and take from over there to try to make it happen. But we wanted to include you guys as part of the creation process. So kind of that's why we're doing it through Kickstarter. We want to include you. We want you to be part of the process. We want you to see our progress as things move on, and to get you more involved, just like we have since day one of opening the store.
Like we have all along. And we're excited to grow Black Cat Publishing. We of course are well underway with Black Cat Chronicles. We've talked before about Black Cat Tales, which so we'll have the true horror stories, then we'll have the fictional horror stories. And then, we'll get into other things as ideally the publishing aspect grows. We can bring in some other creative teams. We can bring in other titles, other genres. I love the sci-fi and different things. But we'll always have a Black Cat sort of twinge to it. But anyway, as I said, excited to sort of take on a whole other aspect of this industry. One thing in writing up my bio for the Kickstarter thing, it's something got into my mind that I'll just throw out there, and again invite feedback or insults or whatever you feel like.
Thanks, Arnell.
In my time in comics, and even before my time, but let's say a little bit before my time, my core time as a fan in the 70s and 80s, and then of course I get into retailing, all these things. There were 3 batons at Marvel Comics. There's Stan Lee. Everybody knows Stan Lee, and everybody knows what he does. What people don't, there's 1,000 things people don't think a lot about when it comes to Stan. And one was that he was an editor a lot longer than he was a writer. He was the circus ringmaster a lot longer than he was the main performer. And there was Marvel Comics, and it was Stan. It became this huge hit, and he had to manage this huge hit and keep it going. Okay, great, that's its own story. Well, then at some point, Stan has to pass that baton. He made the baton. That's the first baton, and he made it, and it's really nice. Then he handed it to Roy Thomas. And Roy Thomas, in my opinion, is one of the most underappreciated people in the history of comics, because he got handed Marvel Comics and got told, hey, don't screw it up. And in fact, sell twice as much and produce twice as many titles. And which, is impossible. How do you take Marvel in 1970 and make it even better and even bigger and all those things? Somehow he did. Roy Thomas, you don't know the name because it was seamless, because it was just Marvel Comics. And Roy, like I say, he got handed this wonderful thing, and he needed to maintain it, and he did. And then you move a little bit forward, and that baton goes to Jim Shooter. And Jim Shooter is told, do everything that the other 2 guys did, but now it's the 1970s, 1980s. You got to make it a business. This isn't fun. This isn't just shenanigans. This isn't goofballs making comic books. You gotta make some money here. This is a business. This is the real world. And Jim Shooter did that. Jim Shooter took Marvel Comics, maintained everything that was great about it, but then made it even bigger and even more popular. And yes, there's all those same guys on DC side, and yes, there's lots of other examples. The guy who did EC Comics, and on I could go. But these were the 3 names that came into my head, was Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, and Jim Shooter. So now, how do we as publishers, what do we do with that? How do we take comics now and make it something, keep everything that was great about it, but bring something to it, make it more than it was before. And I think it's come to where it goes from there is now the Image business model. You know, the three guys I talked about took an art form for kids and turned it into a business. Well, then Image took that business and made it for everybody. Made it for fans of horror and fans of science fiction, and fans of romance and fans of kids books and fans of stupid stuff. And like I say, made it for everybody. And that's where it clicked into my head. That's where I'm going with Black Cat Publishing is we want to make great comics, like I say, great stories, great art, and we want them to be everything that has always made comics great, which is great stories, great art, quality product. But we want to bring content to elevate content, to bring content as good or better than what you've seen. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're setting out to do.
It's a lofty goal.
It's a lofty goal, but it's competition with yourself. It's competition with the history of comics. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to produce a comic book that inspires and entertains as we were inspired and we were entertained. Mm-hmm. So that's my spiel about that. I didn't write the comic, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that
Thanks, Mom.
that when you buy it, you love it as much as any other comic you've ever bought, read, and loved before. So yes. That's what this whole thing is all about.
So stay tuned at 3:15 for the live premiere of the video. It's going to be on, I think, Facebook or YouTube, both, one or the other, but it'll be live at 3:15.
And then when does it, and Kickstarter goes live?
Midnight on October 1st.
There you go.
Barring any unforeseen natural disasters, which these days, 2020.
Don't even.
Who knows?
Come on.
If we're still here, if the planet is still revolving on its axis, October 1st, 2020, midnight.
There you go. It's going to be really exciting. We're excited. Hope you're excited. We appreciate your participation.
Thank you.
You will hear us talk about it ad nauseum for the next 3 months. It's going to be like a Jerry Lewis telethon around here. And so you're just going to have to bear with that.
We really want to get this done. We're really excited for it. So thank you for all your help and your kudos. We really appreciate it.
And it's a little like Favreau pitching Iron Man. Again, it's not about selling you something. It's about providing you something that we think you're really going to enjoy. I was blown away by those pages. I really was.
Just you wait. Just you wait.
Good stuff. And like I say, looking forward to growing it and having a lot of fun with that. Looking forward to when I do the Wednesday video, we'll talk about Valiant and we'll talk about Dynamite and then we'll talk about Black Cat Publishing. And that'll be awesome. So good times. So again, any questions, comments, concerns that you guys have about that, feel free to throw it out there. Again, we'll be repeating all of this information and posting frequently. So don't feel like you're going to miss out on anything.
But you can help us by sharing and liking things.
Yes, by all means, support your favorite comic shop. Like and share anything that is posted because we appreciate the support.
Thank you.
Good times. What else we got?
That's it.
Thanks, Kamal. We do this to bring you into the shop. So we appreciate that you miss being here, but hopefully this feels a little bit like being here.
Who wants to see the shop? You guys missed the shop? See if
Are you going to take them on a little tour?
I'm going to take you on a little tour. Ready?
Sorry, YouTube people.
You can unplug them and do the same. In case you guys we miss having you. There it is. There's the shop. There's the tracks.
And as I mentioned before, book one of those video. I'm forgetting now. Virtual shopping experiences, and you get 15 minutes with your comic book guy. No other comic book store is going to give you 15 minutes dedicated with their fearless leader. But I do that. So book one of those things and let's hang out.
So book the virtual store appointment, and you can have Causey all to yourself. He can walk you through the store point to anything, offer suggestions, whatever you guys need.
I have one with my buddy Sean every Saturday. We talk comics, we talk football. He buys things or he doesn't. That's not what it's about. It's just about hanging out like we're hanging out now. And of course, again, that's why we do this show on Saturday. Happy Batman Day. That's right.
That's right.
Got to mention Batman Day.
We talked about Batman a lot, though.
We did. It's kind of always Batman Day.
Thanks, Carlo.
Like I say, a lot of good
still
books this
putting
week.
titles on the shelves or just the ones start from the room boxes? Are now, yeah, so we, that was weird. So yeah, Arnell, your question is, with the store being closed to regular shopping, are you still putting titles on the shelf, or do those go? Yeah. So we're doing both. We're putting issues online, and if we've got extras, then they will go on the shelf. So yes, is the answer to that. I miss the shop. Yeah, Michael, we miss you too.
But I've been having fun meeting everybody at the pickups too.
Yeah. So book your virtual store appointment if you wanted to take another tour around the shop, and Causey will be happy to answer your questions and make recommendations and talk to you about the online store stuff too.
All the things that you would be doing if you were standing here at the counter.
Yep.
And again, mostly it's so, you can take a look at some of the old books that we don't have on the site, but that's fun. Like I say, I got a couple people. In fact, Arnell's one of them. I've had a couple video things with Arnell, and that's been a lot of fun. And of course, let's see, there's the Wednesday. You can watch the Wednesday video. Tune in for some Matchbox versus Hot Wheels. Who's watching Matchbox versus Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels is taking it.
Hot Wheels is burning a comeback, baby.
It's from like 0 to hero. Hot Wheels.
That's it. So that's tomorrow at 2:00. Lots of fun.
We're having a good time.
We are having a good time.
Yeah.
Because you have to, man. In this crazy world, you got to make the most of it. Now that
find
we can
the fun where you can
breathe air again.
The blue skies. The return of the blue skies. Joyous.
So, yeah, I guess that about cuts it. Throw in your last questions while I wrap it up. But go to the YouTube page. Be ready at 3:15 for the world premiere of Black Cat Publishing. You heard it here first. We're super excited about it. And then, check out all the books that we were talking about this week. Lots and lots of great titles. All those awesome Alex Ross covers. Go to black-cat-comics.com. Click on New This Week. Check out all the books that we've been talking about. And as she said, if you missed Detective this week, or if you wanted to pick up one of those other covers, give me a couple of weeks and they'll all be back up on the website.
Thanks for watching, guys. You're behind on the races. Yeah, Nicole.
Oh, Nicole, yeah.
You gotta catch up,
yeah,
girl.
Hot Wheels has been making a comeback.
You gotta catch
Tune
up.
in tomorrow at 2:00 and for some Matchbox versus Hot Wheels. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.